Well, good morning. I, I've been seeing something float around these past couple of days, specifically last night. I think it was the press embargo was released or something for the new PlayStation 5, which I don't have. Of course, I don't have it. Why would I have it? Linus Tech Tips has it. Dave 2D has it. Some of the bigger tech channels. They're taking it apart, breaking it down, and looking into, is it really the same thing? Is it more? Is there a possibility that it has more performance and all this different kind of stuff? And based on their breakdown, it's the same. It's pretty much the same. All right, it's the same performance. They did load time tests and all this stuff, and pretty much did the same across the board, which is encouraging for people who, like myself, who already own a PlayStation 5. I have the PlayStation 5 Disc Edition, and also for people who are potentially looking to purchase one, like right now. Because while the new PlayStation 5, which I don't know if they have a different name for it, but I think we're all referring to it as the PlayStation 5 Slim, even though it's not that much slimmer, so it would seem, the new PlayStation 5 seems to be going to be coming out soon and then going to be very, very hard to purchase. So why wait to purchase the new one if you can just get the old one, especially if the performance is the same? But I don't think that that's the real issue that I see with some of these new systems like the PlayStation 5 or what they have now leaked as the new Xbox Series X Tiny Edition, whatever, the slim, smaller one. There's a bigger fish to fry here, and that is digital versus physical. And we're going to discuss that a little bit as I make my coffee and drink it. Today we're back at Verve. Verve Coffee, a Simbi. If you want to look up online, here in the Discord, our good friend Mindstormer linked it in the Caffeine and Chill channel in the Discord. It's a single origin Rwanda. We tried it yesterday and it was very good. I think I can make it better. So we're only changing one variable, and actually I want to make sure that that variable is properly changed. And I am going to make this all the way closed. Can't move it. Good. So now we're going to go 14 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. One variable changed. We have increased the grind size. So the little tiny itty bitty grinds, the particles that are there, have increased, therefore having less particles per brew due to the fact that the grind size is bigger, so it's not going to be as fine. And that would lead to potentially a more even extraction because I felt that the previous extraction was a little bit too bright. And so I feel like it was under extracted, which means there was it didn't brew for long enough due to how many particles there were. And so my way of doing that is making less particles to potentially make it taste better. Although, come to think of it, I could have done it a little bit easier way. I could have just done less coffee, but we'll do that next. So 25 grams of coffee, and let's start to grinding and talking about this physical versus digital thing, which has been a conversation for a while, a long time. Physical versus digital has become more of a focus because we're seeing, as time has gone on, a pretty dramatic increase in the digital worlds. For instance, we have Nintendo granting us very, very small, but still a discount vouchers. Made a video about that for 2 games for $100 basically. Although you can go to Costco and get $100 of eShop money for $90, so it essentially turns into 2 games for $90, which is a great deal. But they're on digital games. We see that there's a huge push for this digital world. We don't know if Nintendo, as they have been talking about the importance of the Nintendo Switch account or Nintendo Online, whatever it may be, if this next console is going to support our beloved physical games, or if it's just going to be supporting our digital games. I see where the benefits would be in an all-digital solution. Let me give you an example. Let's say new hardware comes out. That new hardware is going to use different media to have these games. Let's say the new Nintendo hardware is a disc, not a cartridge anymore. I'd be heartbroken because I much prefer cartridges to discs for nostalgic reasons, not for practical reasons. And I love it. I love it. It's cool. Well, obviously, we're not going to have a place to put our discs. Now, I understand that this could be remedied by having on the new hardware a slot to slot our old cartridges. That could be remedied. Sure. But will Nintendo do that if they make something along those lines? I don't know. I don't see them doing that. It's more work for them. So, there's that. But if you have an all-digital library, then all you have to do is port over those digital things, and boom, we're good to go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Xbox. Xbox has had this all-digital solution for a little while now. We've had the all-digital Series S. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 1S even had a digital. No disk drive. Cheaper version to get you involved in the Xbox ecosystem for an affordable price, which is great for individuals who want to game on a budget. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But we know that Xbox has had some dicey moments with DRM, which I don't think, I'm guessing right now, I'm not confident that stands for digital rights management. Could be wrong. It sounds right because it's about the copyright stuff, so digital right. They're having issues with basically DRM being what verifies your ownership. Yes, you own this game. You can play it, even though it's a digital game. Not just some piece of software that you can put onto any system you choose. And basically, you and your buddies have the ability to play the same game because you just go, hey, I'm copying the software over to your machine. And we see that the internet is the way that they verify that very license. They go, hey, yep, we see that purchase was made. We see that you are indeed the person who has purchased this based on your purchase history that we have verified with the internet. We have the same thing happen with Nintendo Switch Online, with digital purchases online. Nintendo Switch Online specifically, if you want to play your SNES or N64 on the go and you haven't logged into it for a while and you go to play it, it may say, we can't play this, you can't play the software because we can't verify that you are indeed the user. Now I'm thinking about it and I don't know if you only have one user on your Nintendo Switch, will it ask you that question continuously, or is that only happening because, like, for me, I have a dummy account that I used for, like, making videos of actual gameplay, and then I have my daughter on there. But anyway, the digital DRM stuff is there. So, you have to have the internet access. PlayStation 5 and PlayStation, I think, has similar things. I haven't run into those issues personally, but I would assume that it's the same. Why wouldn't it be? I know that this is something that's interesting. With the new PlayStation, this was information I got from a buddy. Shout out to Adam Squires. If you have the new PlayStation 5 that comes digitally, or you can have it come with the detachable or attachable, depending on how you look at it, disk drive. That disk drive has to be paired with your machine. And I guess the reason for that is to make sure that there's no silly copyright stuff going on. Pretty crazy that you're pairing hardware to hardware. Kind of interesting, right? But it just goes to show you that this digital future is imminent. I don't know, didn't go to college. And we need to, I guess, prepare for it in some way. Now, what does that even look like for us? Am I excited about it? Are you excited about it? These are some of these questions I can answer, and some of these questions I'm going to require of you to answer. And tell me, hey, are you actually excited about this? Do you care? Does it even matter? Are we all overreacting? Is the internet just going crazy for no reason? Which oftentimes the answer to that question is most definitely yes. It's tough to talk about some of these things without feeling like a tinfoil hat man or a screaming, yelling YouTuber who just wants views. But I don't think that is going to come across because my video length is far too long for that. And my thumbnails are not catchy. They won't be moving forward because all I care about is talking about video games with those who want to watch it. And if that means that we're not going to grow super big because of that, I'd rather have 10 people who want to be here than 150 people who want me to talk about something, and if I don't talk about it, they get mad. So, let's continue. For me personally, the digital future is something somewhat bittersweet. One reason is the bitterness is I like stuff. I don't like that I like stuff. I don't like that if we have, I have a room full of things. It gets cluttered at time. But I do like being able to pull out Pokemon Snap. And I have it here. Well, that's actually the cartridges in my to-go container. But I have it here, and I have the cartridge. I like that. I like that I have the ability to do something like, let's see here. Pull out this Final Fantasy Deluxe 16 Deluxe Edition that has extra stuff inside. I like that. The Guardians of the Galaxy one. The steel books. I like that. It's cool. And I know that the collector's editions and stuff like that is so non-consequential. Like that not non-consequential, but it doesn't really matter, right? That's just like a personal preference. But then the practicality of it. My buddy, Alan, who wanted to play the new Pokemon Snap, was like, dude, I want to play the new Pokemon Snap, but I don't know if I want to buy it. Can I borrow it? Actually, he didn't ask me to borrow it. I just gave it to him to borrow. Because he said that thing, and I'm like, well, you can borrow mine. I'm not playing it right now. And he borrowed it for like a year. He gave it back to me. I have it now. Thanks for worrying. And I like that. That's practical. That's old school, right? Hey, borrow this game. Let's sit down for the rest of this. And, it's nice. Is that necessary? And is that good for the gaming companies? It certainly makes them look better to us or to the consumer that they're not trying to stop people from sharing games like that. Is it an issue? I don't think so. I don't think that this sharing of games is something that's so crazy that gaming companies are missing out on money. I don't think the fact that I shared Pokemon Snap with my buddy is going to make that franchise or whatever, especially Pokemon, go out of business. I see that there's stuff happening though behind the scenes the more you look about it, such as some of these games, these big giant PlayStation games, because that's where I buy my physical games as far as the current generation. I'm not going to consider, though technically defined, Nintendo Switch is in its current generation because there's nothing past it right now. But I'm not going to define, when I say current generation, I am referring to Xbox Series X, S, and PlayStation 5. Digital or disc, it doesn't matter. And so with current generation games, I am currently purchasing 100% on PlayStation. I don't purchase on Xbox because as of now, hold on, let me taste this. This is the new recipe, and I want to make sure that this new recipe is better, and then I'm define it. That's the goal. I'm going to take a brew method, right? We're working with the V60. I'm going to take a brew method and I'm going to every day do it until it is dialed. Once that's dialed, we're moving to another brew method, and we're going to do that, and hopefully we can nail in a few brew methods before we're out. Those recipes will exist. If you want them, let me know in the comments. Say, yes, I want those recipes, because I am either getting the grinder and I'm getting the stuff. I'm trying to use right now, it will change, I apologize. I'm trying to use right now very affordable stuff. You don't need this cool decanter. You can just use a mug. You don't need to pour off into another cup. I do that because it cools the coffee a little bit quicker. And so this is just sitting here, and then this is here, and I can drink my coffee faster, because if I didn't do it this way, we'd be sitting here for like 2 hours. But like the hand grinder, for instance, this hand grinder, it's not a cheap hand grinder. It's like $80, but it's a very good hand grinder, and a grinder of similar quality and precision. That's the thing. Precision is like, electric one is like a couple $100. So I figured this would be a really good option for people. Plus it's very portable, extremely portable. And then you don't need to get the air sealed containers. That does prolong the life of a coffee, but you don't have to do that. So, and you do need this kind of thing. This is a, called a gooseneck pitcher. They make them, you can just boil them. You can get a $30 one, $20 one to just put on the stove. The problem is you can't control the temperature, and temperature does affect it. You can get a thermometer and then control it through time. So you boil it and then you let it cool off until it gets to a certain point. This has a hold feature, so it can hold it at a certain temperature, which I don't use because I don't need to. But like I do recommend at least the grinder and gooseneck. And then from there you pick your brew method and you just get after it. If you have the grinder, gooseneck, and scale, it doesn't matter what scale you use. I right now use a very cheap scale. I'll eventually get a scale that allows me to actually log my pour like speed. And if I can export that as a file and send that to people, that's going to be super awesome. My goal with the coffee making thing is to make coffee for myself, but then log it, catalog it, and then share that so that you guys can also make delicious coffee for yourselves. Because coffee is one of my biggest passions. Right? I love coffee. I will at some point have a coffee shop someday. Don't know when. That coffee shop will indeed have lots of video game stuff in it. So, don't know. I don't know. It's probably going to be called Press Start. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's tasty. It's almost perfect. I think tomorrow we're going to try it with 24 grams instead of 25 grams. I think we got the grind down. We just need to change the ratio. So we're going to decrease the amount of coffee, increase the amount of water, and I think that is going to be what we need. Back to the digital versus physical. The digital situation, the sweetness of it is most definitely the convenience. It is remarkably convenient. I can't say that enough. Right now I have Super Mario Wonder. I don't know which Switch it's in, and before I leave the house I have to make sure that I either have both my daughter's Nintendo Switch Lite and my Nintendo Switch OLED if I want to make sure that Wonder is with me. Or I have to purchase two. That's where we're at. Come to think of it, I took it out of her Switch yesterday, and thank the maker I'm talking about it right now, because I never put it in my bag. It was in my back pocket of these jeans. Holy smokes, I'd be really bummed if that thing got lost, because that would have been $60 I had to buy. I'm even considering purchasing it digitally for myself, but I have the physical copy because I like the physical. The problem that arises, or the conversation around the all-digital future, is ownership, and I am not an expert at all. I'm just a simple man trying to make his way through the galaxy. And when it comes to the all-digital future and ownership, I can see the argument. I can see it. You don't really own anything. And it is unfortunate that that is what it seems these companies are leaning on, not because they're evil and they want people to have zero control, and some people are freaking out over censorship. I had one person in the comments that was talking about like how they got their account banned, and since it's not digital, then they're going to have to, they're not going to be, since it's not physical, they can't play the game anymore, and then they took it from them because they didn't agree with this current narrative of the political climate and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, why were you having that conversation in Call of Duty? One, cool. Like, stand firm in your beliefs. I have some very, very, by the standards of the world right now, controversial views. They're mine. Don't need you guys to know about them. It's not important. I stand by them. You probably can figure out what it is. I mean, for goodness sakes, I wear t-shirts, and you guys know that I'm a Christian, so, it says pray on it. You guys could probably figure out where I stand on things. But I don't think that Activision Blizzard wants to sell you digital-only games, which if we, for a moment, can step aside and see that PC users have been running this digital situation forever. Granted, Steam is really good at giving you deals on games, and so it doesn't financially hurt as much as this physical digital does right now, because you can't really share, and digital games usually stay higher in price, especially some of these first-party titles, though I will say that PlayStation is good at it. So is Xbox. I'm not on the Xbox store as much, and I'm sure that there's people in the comments that are like, Xbox is better, whatever. I don't care. I'm talking about what I know, and what I know is that PlayStation is great at sales. There are lots of games on sale all the time, and some of them are the big boys. And I think we can all safely say that Borderlands has been on sale since it came out. Why is Borderlands 3 always $9.99 for the Ultimate Vault Edition, whatever they're going to call it? Why is it always on sale? It's a great game. The franchise, for goodness sakes, is one of my favorite franchises. I think the Borderlands franchise is so fun. Side note, if you haven't played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands or S, I don't know. It's so tough to remember, but very fun. Very fun. The voice acting is great. They have Will Arnett as a voice actor. They have Andy Samberg. They have Wanda Sykes. It's crazy. They have some like big name voice actors. Now, Will Arnett, I didn't know, voice acts like everything. Cool, good for you, Will Arnett. Like you. If you ever want to like get together and high five, I'd love to high five you, Will. I don't know if you'll ever see this. Guys, let's make it happen. I want to high five Will Arnett. I would lose my mind if it's just a high five to Will Arnett. I think that is what we're going to do. The narrative of this channel is JD wants to high five Will Arnett. I want to make you a cup of coffee, Will. Will Arnett, can I make you a cup of coffee? He's not even like my favorite act, although I do, and my wife introduced me to the show Arrested Development, and we love Arrested Development, so. Will, let me make you a cup of coffee. All right, continuing on. Digital versus physical. I do see the problem there that people are feeling. Not the problem, but I do see the concern. People are feeling that digitally you don't own anything. And again, I can't pretend to know if that's true. I can assume, I can see it being true, that you don't really own it, that you just have a license. But how do PC gamers rationalize with it? Let me know in the comments, guys. How do you PC gamers, because I'm sure that there are some of you in here that play games on PC, how do you rationalize this lack of ownership that people are accusing these video game companies of now trying to realize? Because again, PC ditched the CD for such a long time ago, and it makes sense, rightfully so. I mean, Call of Duty hasn't really been on a CD. I guess it might be, but I just downloaded Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and it was so many gigs. Will those all fit on a CD? I don't think so. And why? Like, we're at a point when information can so readily be available, or not information, but data can be transferred and downloaded so quickly. I will say that as a father of two, the thought, now I'm going to still do it for games, but the thought when Wonder came out, I had to go with my 4-month-old at the time and my 3-year-old to Best Buy, take them out of the car, walk into the store because the one I ordered from didn't have driver pickup, stand in line, wait for 3 people to go ahead of me and deal with their issue that they should have been at the Geek Squad for. And then I finally went in, and the guy couldn't find the poster that I really don't care about. Where is it? Is it somewhere? See, it's not even here. Couldn't find the additional the poster that comes with the game. That I was sitting there with my 4-month-old who was a little upset because it was probably time for him to eat, and my 3-year-old who was playing with the gum packs and asking me 100 times if we can buy some gum for her. Which we didn't because she hasn't eaten gum yet, so she doesn't know what it is. I would have definitely liked to not go through that. Was it terrible? No, not at all. Am I complaining just for the sake of complaining? Yes, to prove a point. And the point is the convenience does exist and it's significant. But are console gamers, myself being one of them, are we validated in our concern? I don't know. It's hard for me to take a lot of these problems seriously, especially when it's such a non-issue in reality in the grand scheme of things. I mean, video games, problems in video games, like, I know it's a hobby, it's close to people's hearts, it's close to my heart, but there, let's just bring a little bit of life into this. It's like not that big of a deal. But is it really something that we should be concerned about as a consumer? And I personally, and this is my thought on this is I'm not concerned at all. Zero concern. Because this is not concerning. I'm saddened because I do like this. Oh, I have this. This physical copy of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom that is not for resale because this is the one that came in my collector's edition. Not even opened. I'm going to actually get this graded because why not, right? I do like this. I like it a lot. Now, it's awesome that I picked that one. That wasn't even on purpose because I actually have that game digitally. I have both. And that is very nice. Very nice. And I purchased it digitally because I wanted to get a collector's edition, but it was going to take me a week and a half post-launch to get it. And so, I got it digitally. And being able to boot up my Switch wherever, whenever, however I want. Now, this is the problem, right? The verification that that game is mined through the internet. This is the biggest issue. And I totally understand that concern. That part is the part that I wish we could figure out how we can hardware lock the DRM, whatever it may be. I really wish that we could do something along those lines or figure something out because I don't know how this works. But that would be absurdly convenient because there are issues with that. And that PC gamers wouldn't necessarily have to deal with as frequently because if you're a PC gamer, chances are you're connected to the internet at all times. With the exception of a few, and those people love to make comments about it. And so that might be something that console gamers are more likely to encounter, the verification process, because as a console gamer, especially with something as mobile as the Steam Deck or the Nintendo Switch, or I would argue the Xbox Series S with something like the X screen, the up-spec X screen, which is an incredible deal, by the way. Which is an incredible piece of hardware. It's definitely not a deal. It's like $200 and something odd dollars. Not a deal. It's on sale sometimes, but not a deal. That mobility, that portability does have some sticky points. I think that with physical versus digital, my disdain, it's not a good word. I haven't finished my coffee, so I don't have all my words with me yet. But my opposition to it, for lack of a better term, is two. I like to be able to hold the thing that I purchased. Selfishly. I don't care about ownership. I don't Nothing is too, like, I have kids. That's all I care about. They're way more important. If someone came in and stole my physical collection and said, you don't get any more physical games, I'd be like, okay. Do I like them? Sure. I like to feel it. I'm a tactile person. It feels good to push the card in. Although pushing a game cartridge into the Nintendo Switch or putting a disc into the disc drive of... Well, putting a disc into the disc drive PlayStation, I don't really care about. Personally, I wish that I could purchase the disc and then or the collector's edition, and it came with a digital copy, so I wouldn't have to put the disc in. The convenience of that on something like a PlayStation 5 is incredible, and so that's what I mean. That's where I think this could go. Like the console gaming. Let's be honest, Xbox Series S and X, and then PlayStation 5. We are at the point of PC gaming on a very, very budget scale. The performance that these two have is on par with budget PC gaming. Budget, okay? Cool it, PC gamers, with your $3,500, $5,000 setups. Cool it. We're there. And so I think that since we're entering into that budget style PC gaming, and maybe even higher than that a little bit, we're starting to encounter some of the very same things. I guess this is a little nugget of wisdom for the 4 of you who are still watching. We're starting to encounter what PC gaming encountered, a decade ago. Now that the console gaming is caught up. And it's very much so caught up. And so we're starting to see them make decisions that happened, a while ago with PC. Maybe that's what it is. There's the why behind it. I'm not concerned. I'd be bummed if there's no more physical copies, but I very much so would get over it. And you want to know the truth? If PlayStation ditched all physical and went digital only, I wouldn't switch to Xbox. And if Xbox ditched all physical and switched to digital only, I wouldn't switch to PlayStation. I will always own all of the consoles because I prefer to game on whatever I want to game on, however it's possible. Some may be more powerful than others, and some might be the primary console, and then others may be the secondary or third console. But here's the deal. Gaming is far more important to me than whatever it's on. Who cares? That's all for today. This was a better recipe. If you want the recipes, let me know in the comments, and I'll do the work to get you the recipe. If you don't care, then be like, it's okay, buddy. You don't have to. Either way, comment for engagement. That'd be great. If you don't know what to say, just put an emoji. Happy gaming.